passed for another week, which then turned into 3. And now we're looking at 2 months since they moved in, when they only said they would be a month. They have not paid us anything, and they have racked up all of our utilities to about $300. And this is more since they moved in because they are constantly leaving lights on. They've been gone a week and haven't said anything about coming back. Max has been texting Sunny trying to know when they're getting back because she said they were packing, but then they left for a week. Lester then took Sunny's phone and texted Max a nasty text message about always talking to Sunny and not him. But it's not like Lester can respond anyways because his phone has no service. And honestly, at this point, I'm done. I don't care how much I sound like a jerk, but I went into their room to get the dishes that they left, which when I grabbed all the cups and plates that they left in there, they were all covered in mold. Not to mention that the room smelled like the herb, if you know what I mean. And that's the other thing. They are constantly smoking that stuff, and we let them do that for a while on the porch. We thought they went to a friend's place, but it turns out they were smoking the herb inside my house. So I always smelled it, but Max didn't, so I thought I was going crazy. So anyways, I'm in their room and it was full of moldy dishes, as well as a can covered in the residue from the herb and cleaning out what they used to smoke the herb. Also, Max's baseball cards were in there, and those were cards that he left in the room hidden away in a dresser drawer. Now, I didn't look in, but Max did, and the baseball cards are basically worthless because you wouldn't know unless you looked at it, especially because they were raked out of the closet. So right now, I'm either going to be calling the police and trespassing them on our house because they have no standing here legally. They just refuse to leave, and I can't just not let them back in because they do have clothes here, and I do not want to get into any legal trouble with that. At this point, I'm just going to pack their garbage and leave it by the dumpster because them being here is affecting my relationship, and at this point, I'm honestly not sure what to do. Okay, honestly, if I was in your shoes, I would be changing the locks, I would get their stuff out of my house, and I would leave it on the curb. I would then text them and be like, don't come back, you're not welcome here, because what you're describing sounds like a nightmare. And sure, maybe there is some kind of like legality associated with this, but in my opinion, I would make sure they never come back in there, and even consult like a lawyer or someone to try and help you get this going. Like, these people are literally destroying your property in a way that is probably going to be irreparable. Like, think about it, they have mold on the dishes and the cups and plates, and that is not something that happens overnight. That means they probably had those plates in there since like December, the second they came into your house. And that legitimately puts a chill up my spine. That is so disgusting, it's not even funny. So if I was in your shoes, they would be gone and they would never be welcome back. I would say that they have to go and find some other accommodation because this situation is disgusting and you do not deserve to deal with this in the slightest. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. An entitled customer who used to be my friend absolutely loses his mind after I give him incorrect change, causing a series of events to happen in a way that I honestly never expected. Here's what happened. Okay, so I'm a 30-year-old female, and when I was going through a really rough time at home, I found a diner nearby that I could go drink coffee and chat with the old folks when I needed to escape. I got along very well with the owner. He reminded me of my Italian godfather that passed away. At the time, the diner was just a safe environment that meant the world to me. I made friends with many of the customers that sit at the counter, including a 90-year-old Korean war vet, a high school guidance counselor, a retired professional boxer, plenty of Vietnam vets, and a state trooper. I got to hear so many stories and make so many friendships that I still have today. Over the course of a few months, things got bad enough that I left home with my little brother with no place to go, and I needed a job that I could have cash immediately so that I could afford to keep us in a local hotel. Well, I begged the old man to hire me. It took a couple of weeks because I didn't want him or anyone, frankly, to know how desperately I needed that job. And not just for the cash, but with everything going on, I just wanted to be somewhere I felt safe. Well, he hired me, and I learned the menu and the computers within 2 days. I got along with even the most prickly of staff, and most importantly, the customers love me already. I was working my first really crazy busy shift around Valentine's Day, which is only my second time working on the counter, and having an additional 6 booths to take care of. I was smiling ear to ear, making quick jokes with regulars, keeping my order tickets organized, and no one's food sat for more than 20 seconds. Frankly, I was completely overwhelmed at this time. Overwhelmed to a point that was absolutely awful. In fact, I was only smiling so I wouldn't start crying. But you know what? I didn't stop smiling. I never slammed anything, I never gave an attitude, I literally did nothing wrong. I saw the state trooper come in and I actually sighed in relief, because this is my friend. I mean, I sat with him on so many busy days before I ever worked there. We talked about work and our families and cars and politics, so this really was my friend. He knew that I was brand new, so maybe I just assumed he'd be more understanding, especially since we both saw how chaotic and tense it can get in here. So I made a quick joke as he sat down, got his drink drink order and he told me his order straight away. And then he told me he was in a rush. So I grabbed his drink, put his order in, and brought it to him the second it was in the window. I would say that maybe 3/4 of his coffee cup was full, but he was annoyed I hadn't topped off his coffee within 4 minutes to keep it super hot. Now, because he was in a rush, I said something like, "I'm sorry, Dave, I'm doing my best. Honestly, I'm a little overwhelmed." And I laughed and poured his coffee, then got back to running food and taking orders. He then waved me down to pay his check, and the total was $11.82. He gave me a $20 bill, and I gave him $9 back to save myself time from counting change. Well, when this happened, he lost his mind. He said to me, "I want my change back." I then looked at him and I said, "What? Wait, did you need quarters for the meter for work? Because your change was supposed to be like $8.18. I could change one of the dollars for quarters if you want." He then freaked out on me even more and said, "No, I want my proper change." I then said to him, "Okay, that's fine. I'll need one of those dollars back though. I was trying to round up for you." Now, at this point, I could see he was legitimately angry and balling up his fists. He kept saying to me, "You can't rip me off." And I kept saying, "Dave, I wasn't ripping you off. I gave you more change than you were supposed to get so I could save some time. We sit together all the time. Are you joking right now?" Well, after that, he wouldn't speak another word to me. I didn't fight with him on the extra dollar, and I just gave him the extra 18 cents. He then sent a nasty letter to my boss calling me a thief, which is ridiculously offensive to me, and on top of that, he didn't come in for years. Well, he somehow got the